just a moment. All right, welcome to Gulf Coast Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. The best that there is, and we're having action right now. Gulf Coast Wrestling at its very best from Mobile's Expo Hall. This is Jack Bitterman along with Leroy Morris. We're at ringside, and we're watching some superb wrestling right now. This is a 2 out of 3 fall match. The first fall went to Lord Ravens on a Boston Crab, and now it is a drop kick by BurrheadJones on Lord Ravens. 2 out of 3 in this one. Well, Leroy, we're underway for another great night.
I am enjoying it immensely, too. The first match was an exceptional match. Burrhead lost it in the Crab, as you mentioned, and he is coming back now and giving Lord Raven a wrestling lesson.
Yes, indeed. They are really going at one another in this opening match, which is 2 out of 3 falls. Lord Ravens comes from England, well qualified. As a wrestler, he did fine work in the ring there, and the crowd wants Burrhead to go after him. Lord Ravens has been making a few remarks, not only at BurrheadJones, but also at some of the spectators here. We have a lot of wrestling activity for you this evening, some great bouts, and you'll be enjoying them all, we know. Don't forget that the announcers for Gulf Coast Wrestling are appointed and approved by the Gulf Coast Wrestling Association. Now the crowd, a trip there by Lord Ravens. He grabbed the first ball, and Burrhead's coming back.
Big roundhouse left there, and he let the Lord have him.
Came right back at him.
Chop.
Started out.
Chop. Lord Raven is down.
Started out with the left hand, and then came around with his right on that chop. Gulf Coast Wrestling. Whenever we have Gulf Coast Wrestling in your town, be sure to turn out and see it, be at ringside. Burrhead wants this fall, and he wants it badly too. And the fans roaring for him right now as Lord Ravens leaves the ring.
Yes, I think he's had sufficient for the time being.
Well,
exchanges greetings with a few of his fans at ringside.
Very few.
Very few. Burrhead with that stand-up somersault when he's holding onto that leg, that puts tremendous pressure on the tendons there and really does stretch a man's leg something fierce.
There he goes with a leg trip this time.
He's back at it again. Here's Burrhead. Does it again. Almost turned Lord Raven completely over, Jack.
Sure did, Leroy, and Raven's trying to fight out of this. He doesn't want to get caught in this hold again. But he is.
Does it again. 3 in a row on Lord Raven, and he is seeking the sanctity of the rope.
As Lord Raven circles around, he's the first fall winner. He'd like nothing better right now than to take the second fall. And he comes up with that forearm. BurrheadJones fighting back at him. Drop kick. Again, Lord Ravens goes down. Burrhead's got that drop kick going good tonight, Leroy.
He has. It's about 3 or 4 of them. And the headbutt. That's it. You can't compete with the hard head of Burrhead.
No, indeed. And he's got it. He won the second fall. So we're squared away at 1 fall each. Lord Ravens, BurrheadJones going into that little jiggle that he uses so effectively. So we're ready now for the third fall upcoming, but first we'll take a short break. All right, bell sounds. This is the third and deciding fall. Lord Raven's on the right of your screen, BurrheadJones on the left. They've each taken one, and now comes the clincher. This is going to be it. There goes the whip. Ravens puts Burrhead into the corner. Good move by Burrhead, Leroy.
He
Nice.
did it to him again. He set the Lord Ravens up, saw him coming, and sidestepped him again. That's twice that Burrhead confused him in that corner.
He, as we mentioned before, he is very fleet of foot and adept at footwork, and he's proving it here against Lord Raven. You heard that slap. One fall each. It's 2 out of 3 falls. And they've been going at it here before an enthusiastic crowd watching Gulf Coast Wrestling. Working in the middle now is the Lord Ravens. Jimmy McGuire, the referee. He gets a 1 count on Burrhead, but is not able to hold him down. Look at that. Well, one has the advantage and then the other, Leroy, huh?
Yes, Lord Raven's pulling Burrhead by the hair. I can see it from our vantage point, and the ring official caught it too and called for the break. Front face lock, a kneeling front face lock on Burrhead now, and the takedown by Lord Raven. Burrhead slithered right out from under him.
And he had that shoulder press too. That's usually, you can get enough body leverage, you can pin a man. But
working on Burrhead with a series of knee drops, then a shoulders drop, and now here's a kick, a couple of them to the back. Side headlock on Burrhead, comes up with a stand-up wrist lock by the hair. He pulls him back around into a side headlock.
Yeah, grabs him by the hair again.
Fist to the face.
Wait a minute, we've got somebody coming over here, Leroy.
Jack, let me talk with them.
Okay.
They want to talk.
You want to use this mic?
All right.
What's happening, Jack? You know, came out to sit with you, watch this match, and to look at this BurrheadJones. You know, I heard him shooting off his mouth a couple of times about the sweet man. So what I'm here for is just to observe and see how Mr. Raven takes care of this guy. You know, that's the only thing I'm out. Just a little local commentation.
Oh, a little commentation with Leroy. Oh, here's the super assassin now.
I thought I got rid of this plowboy a few weeks ago. He was laying right here in the middle of the ring, beat half to death. I don't see how he's back here tonight, making any kind of fight. I don't know how he's here, but.
You talking about Ravens?
No, I'm talking about that plowboy out there. I'm not talking about Ravens. I'm talking about that there boogie boy out there.
You know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Burrhead.
The boogie.
I've never liked him anyway. What, Sweet Daddy?
First,
I don't even like that guy either.
You know, what I really want to talk about, I think, he's been shooting off his mouth, about a lot of different things. And personally, I don't like Burrhead because I don't like nobody to work in the cotton fields of Louisiana. If he's not a man enough to get him a better job, then I don't appreciate that type of talent. It takes men to get out here and wrestle. This guy don't have the talent. I do not like him. I want to repeat it once again. I do not like Burrhead. So he's here, I'm just observing the guy. I'm going to eliminate him in the very near future. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just going to eliminate him.
I can dig that.
And send him back to those cotton fields because he don't need to be in professional wrestling. Because the guy just don't have what it takes, that stamina, that killer instinct, that wrestling ability, and that great body like mine and good looks like myself. So those are the things that he's lacking, so I'm going to just sit here and watch him.
Assassin, what do you have to say about that?
Well, just like I said, Sweet Dad don't like him. I don't like him. I don't see how he's back here from the beating I put on him, but he's back here. And like my man said, Sweet Daddy, you said you're going to eliminate him. Well, I don't think they're ever going to give us a match with the guy again. I don't know what the problem is. It seems like when we beat somebody, they bring him right back and bring him right back. Well, he can only beat a guy so much. I just don't see how the guy's back here again this week.
Well, after he take this whooping he's getting in the ring, I doubt if he'll be back very soon because this guy's just about eliminated. This Raven guy, he's just about eliminated.
You don't have a like for him anyway, do you, Sweet Daddy? I mean, this man's caused you a little bit of problem in the
he caused me a lot of problems in the past, and I have no respect for a guy that works in the cotton fields of Louisiana. Right. That is out. So, that cut his throat right then. Now, if the guy had came from Minnesota, you know, own a
St.
business.
Paul.
Now you're talking. If he had owned a business in St. Paul and drove a big Cadillac and wore a lot of diamond rings, then I would accept the guy. But I don't accept nobody from a cotton field.
The more I watch this, the more disgusted I get. I've never seen nothing like this in my life. They call those two guys wrestlers. I've never seen this. That's not wrestling. I've never seen nothing like that in my life.
Well,
It's disgusting.
They've been out there. This is the third fall now, and they've been going at it hot and heavy. You don't think they're in that good of shape?
No, they're not in that good of shape. But look at them. They're just laying around. That headbutt couldn't hurt nobody. I've got the strongest headbutt around the country today. That headbutt can't hurt nobody.
Yeah, we saw that. We saw that.
Well, you know, those guys just put the foot around, just jiving around. They just don't have what it takes. You know, they can't hold my attention. But only reason I'm looking is because I want to eliminate.
Sweet Dad, won't you just go on in there right now and take care of him, and I'll take care of the other guy. Just go on in there and do your thing. Just go on in there and get him. Just go
Sweet
ahead
Daddy's
and do what you
going in
got
the
to do.
ring. Sweet Daddy is going in the ring. And he lets Lord Raven have one in the back. Another one, he is kicking on the man. The bell has been called for. Sweet Daddy is now picking up BurrheadJones. There goes the assassin. The super assassin is in. He's got Lord Raven, throws him through the rope. Here is the suplex on Burrhead. The suplex.
Burrhead down, Raven's out of the ring, and they still don't know what happened because Sweet Daddy, assassin, said, you go in there, and then I'll go in there, and they both did. Well,
As you
we're
can
gonna
see
talk.
here, when we set out to do something, we do it. Now there's your plowboy. Sweet Dad just did a number on him that nobody can deny. They're going to have to get somebody to carry him out here because I know he's not able to walk.
Like the man said, no, that's the end of Burrhead. My mission is accomplished.
Your suplex is taken. Well, I don't know what they're going to call that. That's some outside interference. The winner, BurrheadJones. BurrheadJones gets the match. All right, we're going to leave you. We're going to take just a little while from Gulf Coast Wrestling, and then we'll be back. Ladies and gentlemen, our next match will be one fall with a 30-minute time limit. One fall, 30 minutes. Introducing first on my left, he is from Hazard, Kentucky, weighing 285 pounds. We introduce now Luke Brown. Luke Brown, Hazard, Kentucky, weighing 285. His opponent tonight is from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, weighing 235 pounds. Here is Tom Tate. Tom Tate from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. This is one fall, 30 minutes. Thank you.
All right, Tom Tate, a young wrestler from over Hattiesburg, Mississippi way. Very popular along the Golden Gulf Coast and making his second or third appearance along the Gulf Coast from Hazard, Kentucky, is Luke Brown, 285 pounds. His weight is deceptive. He's solid. A handshake, a very friendly handshake. The third man in the ring, Jimmy McGuire. Here's the bell, and the action is underway, Jack.
Well, Leroy, we've got a real big man in there. I think Tom Tate weighs about 240. I think I said 235, but I think he weighs about 240 now. And Luke Brown, 285, and a big one. So let's see how they go at it. Side headlock clamped on by Tate, nearby Mississippi. And Luke Brown was a little surprised, I think, by that side headlock. He got caught up in it. And he was
holding on.
He was struggling for a hold.
He had to push him to the ropes to get the break. There's a fist to the midsection on the break.
And he wanted an open hand there. Luke Brown says, well, he made some comment about giving him the edge or something. But our opening match tonight wound up with a victory for BurrheadJones on interference. They came from the outside. The Assassin and Sweet Daddy Banks were in action. And the referee awarded the match to Burrhead. Luke Brown is getting constant calls from the referee on just what he's doing. Side headlock again. Another clamp on by Tate. He's a strong boy. Side mare takes Luke Brown down to the mat.
Luke Brown has been around for many, many years, Jack. He's got some impressive credentials. He's worn a few of some regional belts and some national belts in his professional wrestling career, and he comes well recommended to the Gulf Coast, and he's quite a wrestler.
And I think he was going to vie for the United States Championship the one time they talked about it against Dick the Bruiser.
Yes.
But that match seemingly fell through. But he's one of the top contenders.
By the man's tights, he pulls him up again. He kicks out of it. Jack, we would like to remind the fans, too, that we're unable, due to the time frame of just 1 hour, to show all of the activities that takes place each and every week at the matches. And we try to show you the best. If you want to see it all, you know where it's at.
That's right, Leroy. We'd like to show you all of it, certainly, but time does not permit that. So we give you good action. It's Gulf Coast wrestling action. That makes it all important to you. Oh, they're stomp to the chest there by this big guy. I'd hate to have that.
Yes.
You know? Luke Brown is telling the referee to watch the wrist, but Tom Tate hasn't displayed any inclination toward going with the fist now. Goes to a good referee's position. Nothing wrong about that.
Tom set him up for an elbow smash.
Sure did. Boy, he can. Luke Brown is. There you get a good shot of Tom Tate. Luke Brown. I don't think he believes all this, and now he gets one to the back of the head and one to the midsection. Tom's got him again. Luke caught by Tom on the grinding side headlock.
By the hair, he pulls him down. The ring official caught the action.
Tom Tate has come a long way, Leroy. I remember when he first started, don't you?
Yes.
And,
let me tell you, he can mix it up with the best of them, and he's in there with one of the best right now.
That's correct. Absolutely.
And Tom's holding his own. He may be a regional product, so to speak, but he's very proficient in the ring.
He sure is. I've noticed the constant improvement as we've watched him through the years, and he can top with the best of them right now. Go from side to side. Let's see who gets this one. Good shot there by Tom Tate as Brown was coming off of the ropes. Whoops. One of the spectators was, he's putting on a little show there for the fans. Tate moving in on Luke Brown. Brown in that corner, sticks the head out, doesn't want any more of that right now. There's the fan we're speaking of. He took a few body drops there just to show.
Big fist by Tate, which draws a reprimand from the referee. And for a moment, Jimmy McGuire's caught in the middle, it looked like. The foot through the ropes doesn't draw him the sanctity he hoped for. Tom Tate right on top of him and toss across the ring there.
Body throw by Tate. And Brown muttering something. He wants a chance to get up. He is holding his hand over his heart. What does that mean?
I don't know. Maybe he's saving the Pledge of Allegiance or something like that, Jack. I don't think it's having much effect on Tom Tate, and he's drawing no sympathy from the ring official either.
Certainly not.
Forearm smash and a knee to Tate. There's a stomp to the back of the man's head. Big fist.
Brown stomping at Tate now. And he's being warned again. Here comes a whip. And a kick right to the chest, and that was a tough one to take by Tate, as Brown got him right square where he wanted him. There it is again. He's really giving him some kicks into the chest now. Oh, there it is. Let's see, he's got a submission.
Got the hangman on
Yeah,
him.
got the hangman's hold and may have a submission. He does have. He does have. That hangman's hold, and Brown doesn't want to let loose, and finally does. So Tom Tate, there he is. He had to submit to that hold as Luke Brown got it on him. And the match comes to a close with Luke Brown, the winner, over Tom Tate. All right, let's briefly leave the ring, Gulf Coast Wrestling, and we'll be right back. Don't go away. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting now our next match. It will be one fall with a 30-minute time limit. One fall, 30 minutes. Introducing first on my right, ladies and gentlemen, from Minneapolis, Minnesota, weighing 227 pounds, here is Dan Burdick. Dan Burdick. His opponent tonight, from parts unknown, weighing 260 pounds, here is the Super Assassin. The Super Assassin. One fall, 30 minutes in this bout. Thank you.
All right, the Super Assassin weighing in at 260 pounds, and that's got to be a very light 260 pounds. And in his corner with him at this time is Sweet Daddy Banks. The ring official has already inspected Dan Burdick for this match. Sweet Daddy steps out of the ring, and he's coming over and making his way to our table as Jack Bitterman makes his way back to join us at ringside. Jack?
Well, here's Sweet Daddy Banks sitting with us once again. Second appearance here, Sweet Daddy.
Well, Jack, you know I had to come out and Jeff, local commentation, you know, I wanted to talk with about the Super Assassin. I want you to look at this man, look at the power this man got. We talking about 260 pounds of all man on a 6'1" frame, and the man moves like a cat. The man is devastating in that ring. So we just,
Pretty good takedown there by Burdick.
pretty good takedown by Burdick. Yeah, you know, we'll get a guy the benefit of the doubt. We look at that move. Did you see that move? The assassin blocked him.
Burdick's a good young wrestler, the assassin we've watched, and tough as you are.
Well, you know, well, the guy is a fairly decent young wrestler, we might say. I would say with good regret. There's that power.
Yeah.
There's that power I'm telling you about. Look at the guy. Look at the guy. Observe. Bruise strength.
Got him in those turnbuckles.
That's the flat of the foot. That's legal. That's legal. So we don't want to talk about breaking rules. We're talking about just sheer strength.
Right.
Sheer strength. Every time he hit him, he's knocking the guy down. The guy need to put on a few more pounds. He knocked him down again. This is what you're talking about. Nothing but 260 pounds of
Got that elbow in there.
Oh,
Put him
man.
right in the Adam's apple.
Yeah, he laid it in there on the young guy. The young guy, he's holding up his end pretty good. He's holding up his end pretty good. He's taking his body and hitting the other guy in the fist, knee, and everything. So he's doing a fairly decent job.
Yeah.
This Burdick is doing I'm talking about a nice job. We won't knock the guy because I'm not here to knock guy. I'm not here to talk about the Super Assassin.
Well, Sweet Dad, let me ask you something, if I may.
Sure.
What are your ambitions here in the Gulf Coast area? You want to grab it?
My ambition in the Gulf Coast area is to set a record that nobody will be able to touch in 100 years. And I'm talking about records. I'm
Talking about what?
Records. I'm talking about records.
Records.
Yeah, records. You know, win and loser column. I want my name #1 on that win column, and it's going to be there because I'm here to stay. I am here to stay. I'm just like the weather. I'm going to always be around. Well, the Super Assassin, he's taking the one to look at. Ooh, that strength. Look at the strength of that guy. The guy went down.
Yep. You got that Super Assassin using those. Well, now he's getting a couple of shots.
Oh, they didn't have no effect.
No, he was.
No effect. There, well, his energy is just about gone. Well, he gets body slam. Oh, George is back. I know it is. Oh. Well, you know what the Super Assassin is really doing? He's really showing his wrestling ability. He's showing his strength. And he's showing the people that he's like a panther. Ooh.
Yeah, well,
the guy is doing everything. He's doing everything. He's taking the best the guy got to offer, and he's moving. Look at the big guy.
He can do that.
Oh, look at the guy hit him with a nice shot. Nice shot. Look at that power. He just don't have it. He just don't have what it takes. Well,
what did he get? What did he give him on that one?
Shoulder breaker.
Shoulder breaker.
Well, that's it.
Okay, Sweet Daddy. Sweet Daddy Banks. He's coming. Oh, I thought he was leaving. Oh, he's coming over to the Super Assassin now to raise his hand. We thought he was going back to the dressing room. Then he climbed in the ring. Well, okay. Another timeout and then back. Ladies and gentlemen, this match will be one fall with a 30-minute time limit. One fall, 30 minutes. Introducing first, ladies and gentlemen, on my left, weighing 230 pounds. He is from Orange Park, Florida. Here is Eric Spearman. Eric Spearman. His opponent tonight, from Jackson, Michigan, weighing 263 pounds, correction, Mississippi, weighing 263 pounds. Here is Gene Lewis, Jackson, Mississippi. This is one fall with a 30-minute time limit. One fall, 30 minutes.
All right, from Michigan to Mississippi in a very short span of time. Gene Lewis, the gentleman dressed in black. If you're watching in black and white, both of the suits are dark. He'll be the gentleman on your left as you look at your set now. The heavier of the two, the dark-haired one, offering a hand in friendship to Eric Spearman from Orange Park, Florida, who turns it down. Two Southern boys in the ring. Spearman not very hospitable. Here's the bell. Gene Lewis, Eric Spearman, the center of the ring, around behind the man, picks him up, throws him down, and covers him. Gene Lewis all over Eric Spearman as he goes to the ropes for sanctuary. Back to the center of the ring, Jack.
Yes, Leroy. Didn't even have Mississippi on my mind there. It was up north somewhere.
Clean break by Gene Lewis. Right back to that stand-up wrist lock, applying the pressure on Eric Spearman, and Spearman reverses it, now has it on Gene Lewis. Continuing to apply the pressure. Here's Lewis with a leg behind him and the takedown with a long arm bar, applying the pressure to the upper arm and shoulder of Eric Spearman. Now is Gene Lewis. A long arm bar and a wrist and an elbow smash to that shoulder joint. Putting the pressure on Eric Spearman now, Gene Lewis. Long arm bar to the ropes again. Ring official calling for the break. Gene Lewis gives it to him. Referee's hold. Side headlock now by Eric Spearman. By the hair, he's pulling the man around the ring. All right, Lewis sets him up on the top rope right in our corner. Don't fall this way. Back into the ring goes Eric Spearman.
Well, guess who's here?
Sweet Daddy Banks. Take it.
Jack, what it is, I came out together just a little bit more local commentation.
Okay.
You know, I got a problem. That's the reason I'm out. I got one problem.
What is it?
And it don't seem to be a problem. I shouldn't have said problem. That was the wrong word. What I should say, I'm out for one reason. And that I heard some talk around town, and it kind of disturbed me, especially when they're talking about my suplex. I understood that this Gene Lewis has something half suplex, if I may call it half suplex. But I heard a lot of talk to the guy. But I'm here for one reason, to see if he got a suplex. If he got a suplex, he get this man in trouble, he'll use it. But we speaking of suplex, we speaking of something that I originated years and years ago. And nobody used that suplex but the Sweet Man. And that's the suplex any man, regardless of size, height, strength, or anything else. So what I'm here for is to just look and see what this man got to offer. If he got a suplex, I'm going to see.
Eric Spearman.
He got back trouble, I know that.
Yeah. You're telling me then, Leroy, that you're the originator of the suplex? Is that what you're saying?
I started years ago, and if this man got any type of suplex, I want to see exactly what it is, because I'm tired of people talking about, hey, Sweet Man, I heard this, and they say that, and I said this, and they say that. I don't need all that. I'm the man with the suplex, and if any suplex is going around, I'm going to be able to do the suplex. Look at
Well, there it is.
Can you believe it?
That's not a full suplex.
Can you believe that? Just a little piece of suplex, but I suplex any man. That includes Gene Lewis. If Gene Lewis ever step in the ring with me, I'll suplex him. He got a little broke down suplex. I got a chance to see what I really wanted to see. And you know, a little regular suplex. The guy trying to imitate it. Look at it.
He's up above you there.
Well, you know, I'm leaving.
All right, timeout. Gulf Coast Wrestling.
And there's another one. He's saying he hit him with an open palm. Another one to the rib cage. Another one by the challenger. One to the heart area of Eddie Sullivan by the challenger. And Speedy Hatfield continues to reprimand the man.
Boy, I don't know how they can go at it at this pace, Leroy. I really don't.
Shoulders into the rib cage of Eddie Sullivan. There's Tate, you know, and a whip into the turnbuckle by the challenger. Eddie gives him a knee as he walks in on him. A miss, and the challenger is down, claiming that he used his thumb to the throat. Sullivan says no. Challenger is slow to get up.
They both stay with one another pretty good, though. First one gets the advantage, then the other, and they're told to break it.
Speedy Hatfield continues to have words with Eddie Sullivan about using the thumb to the throat. Sullivan is threatening the ring official. That could cause him some problems. His back is to the challenger, and the challenger comes up and lets him have a big roundhouse punch. Here's the side headlock and a punch to the face of Eddie Sullivan by the challenger and a stomp to the back. The challenger has rested a few moments, and he's coming back.
Sure is. Remember, the match goes on until one man cannot continue. And the way they're going at one another.
Sully wants the fight.
Well, the challenger put his arms. Oh, boy, into the turnbuckle. Back again. Oh, and Eddie Sullivan gets that elbow right up in there.
And goes back to the Boston Crab again.
Challenger says, yes, sir. He gives it up. That's the fall, though, not the match. And now Eddie Sullivan won't break the hold and is being warned. He's got to break it. Finally does.
Watch it.
Here comes Sweet Daddy Banks.
And the assassin. Ring that bell.
And the assassin, Sweet Daddy, have come into the ring. And Speedy Hatfield, the referee, went down.
Suplex on Sullivan.
Well, they're throwing everything all over this ring right now. No. Referee says no.
Hey, come here.
Sweet Daddy just beat Eddie Sullivan, the Gulf Coast champion. Now we want the belt. He just suplexed him. I counted him out. Now we want the belt.
That's right. I want my belt. I just beat the Gulf Coast champion. So be it as it may, bring my belt forward. I'm the new Gulf Coast champion.
All right, the Super Assassin. The Super Assassin said that Sweet Daddy Banks just beat Eddie Sullivan, the Gulf Coast champion, and Sweet Daddy Banks wants the belt, but that's interference any way you look at it, Jack.
That's right, Leroy. And the match goes to Eddie Sullivan. They were interfering on him, and Sullivan is the winner of the bout. I'll tell you, it was a fantastic match. Just fantastic. A Texas death match. That was out of this world.
Speedy Hatfield gave the match to Eddie Sullivan, flat of his back in the center of the ring due to the interference.
Well, that's the only thing. That's the only way. No. All right. Okay. Now, something special on Gulf Coast Wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, our next bout is a 9-man battle royal for $250.
Sweet Daddy Banks is in the ring at this time. Talking with
First of all,
Bitterman.
I want to enter this contest because I understood that y'all trying to cut the sweet man out. Money is money. You know I find money. So I'm placing number one in this contest, and I need the money. So I'm going to enter myself in this contest.
Okay.
The money is money.
Okay.
I need that money.
Okay, Sweet Daddy. Here's your 9 men in the ring. There are 9. A man must be thrown over the top strands of the ropes to be eliminated. Over the top. And then he is eliminated. The last man in the ring receives $250,
tag on it. 94492.
which I have here in my hand. $250 to the last man. Let's introduce the gentlemen to you now. We'll just give them by name. You've seen them, most of them. Gene Lewis, Dan Burdick, Tom Tate, BurrheadJones, Greg Peterson, you haven't seen from Bonifay, Sweet Daddy Banks, Super Assassin, Eric Spearman, and Lord Ravens. Total of 9. Right. For $250 are in the ring at the same time.
Over the top rope only.
Over the top rope only. Elimination. All will be in the ring at the same time. Thank you.
9 wrestlers and 1 announcer trying to get out of the ring. There's Greg Peterson, BurrheadJones, Thomas Tate, Dan Burdick, Gene Lewis, Lord Raven, Eric Spearman, Sweet Daddy Banks, and the Super Assassin. What a combination. What a combination. All men in the ring calling for the bell. And here's the bell. Just watch the action because there's going to be a lot of it. Sweet Daddy and Greg Peterson lock up. BurrheadJones and Eric Spearman, Lord Raven and Gene Lewis, Thomas Tate, and the Super Assassin. BurrheadJones turns Eric Spearman over to Dan Burdick and goes to Sweet Daddy Banks. Burrhead and Sweet Daddy Banks.
Well, what the fans have been waiting for. And they got it now. Burrhead after Sweet Daddy and Greg Peterson staring right at him. Here's Spearman trying to stay inside the ring. Boy, these battle royals are something. That kind of money, too. Not bad. 9 men in the ring. I think Big Jim Williams was supposed to be in this one.
I think Sweet Daddy Banks made his deal with Big Jim.
I thought there were 9 in.
All right, they double teamed Burrhead. Burrhead's the first man out.
And did he take a spill, too? Wow, wait. I thought he was going to go up to those customers. He really came out of it. Sweet Daddy was going after the man he was talking about.
Gene Lewis just faced off Big Daddy Banks, and Big Daddy turned away.
He was after. There's Burrhead. He really took a tumble, too. Well, I doubt whether we're going to have a chance to finish on the air, Leroy. This battle royal, unless they all go out very suddenly.
Lord Ravens is out. Did he go over the top rope?
That I don't know. I didn't see that.
I didn't either.
No,
Evidently not. He's climbing back into the
he's
ring.
coming back in. Good eyes, Leroy.
Gene Lewis has the face lock on the Super Assassin.
You know, it's hard to keep track of 8 men now. They got the Super Assassin, though. And they're trying Burdick, Lewis. They're all trying to get him out. But Banks is coming to the aid of the assassin. They want to work on Burdick a little bit right now. $250 goes to the last man in the ring. So we've still got 8 going. And listen to that crowd roar. It's just about time for us to close. So So, Leroy, you want to say goodbye to everybody until next
It's been a
week?
pleasure, Jack. What a fantastic match. I wish we could continue, but time doesn't permit. Jack, it's been a pleasure being with you again. We'll see you next week.
Okay, Leroy. Same here. For Gulf Coast Wrestling at its best, we have a battle royal going on now, but that's about all the time we have for wrestling action this week. We'll be back soon. You be watching for us. We'll be looking for you.
You've been watching Gulf Coast Professional Wrestling, presented each week by the Gulf Coast Wrestling Association, member of the National Wrestling Alliance.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Gulf Coast Wrestling, King of Sports. We're into our first fall already. It's a 2 out of 3 fall match. The first fall was awarded to Lord Raven over Ricky Fields. We have just started the second match, so let's go to ringside and all the action. Lord Ravens with the dark-colored tights, Ricky Fields with the clean white shoes. On the count of 2, Lord Ravens throws Ricky Fields off, grabs him by his foot, trips him up. Lord Raven has been concentrating on this left leg of Ricky Fields all through the first fall of this match. Been administering some tremendous punishment to this leg, and he continues now by rolling the foot around, which causes severe pain in the ankle area. And now, using the point of the elbow, draws a reprimand from the third man in the ring, Jimmy McGuire. Continuing to put the pressure on the left leg of Ricky Fields is Lord Raven from London, England. Again, working the elbow into the knee area of Ricky Fields. An elbow smash, a legal blow, knocks Ricky Fields back. Ricky catching the man under the chin. Here he is now applying the pressure. Ricky turns loose the hold on Lord Raven. And again, he's working the knee into the elbow into the knee area. Rick gets a leg up over him and a leg smash to the face of Lord Raven. And he turns the man loose and goes outside the ring. Lord Raven, London, England. Ricky Fields, Loxley, Alabama.
He didn't do nothing wrong.
Here again goes Lord Raven working on the left leg of Ricky Fields. Here's the full body drop on the leg and right back to applying the pressure on it. Figure 4 leg lock now on the leg, and he goes back to working on the thigh muscles of Ricky Fields with his fist. Putting the pressure on the man's leg, Lord Raven. Ricky getting an arm around him, an elbow smash by Lord Raven. It's legal. This is illegal with him working the fist into the thigh muscle of Ricky Fields. Ricky again gets a leg over him. This is the way he came out of it the last time. Lord Raven releases the hold on the leg of Ricky Fields, and Ricky comes up with a side headlock on the man and putting the pressure on him. Lord Raven's picking him up by the leg and dropping him on that leg again. Tremendous pressure on the leg of Ricky Fields. Right back. Lord Raven's concentrating on that left leg. Now snatching on it, jerking Ricky all around the ring. Ring official asking Rick if he submits. He says no. Here's the falling body again. Putting Ricky's legs into a figure 4. Now he's applying the pressure on the man's legs. Lord Raven, Ricky Fields. Here's a elbow smash to the back of Ricky Fields. Legal. By the hair, illegal. Lord Ravens draws a reprimand from Jimmy McGuire. Ricky Fields trying to get a headlock on the man. Ravens pushes his arm off. And again, by throwing his body weight back, he exerts pressure on the legs of Ricky Fields. It's a forearm smash, legal, and Lord Raven somersaults over, still holding on to the leg of Ricky Fields, applying the pressure. Jerking on the legs. Raven is concentrating on the leg of Ricky Fields. Jamming that knee into the mat. Ricky comes up, and he draws a reprimand now from the ring official. Lord Raven, 255 pounds, London, England. Winning the first fall. This is a 2 out of 3 fall match. Again, he goes right to work on the leg of Ricky Fields. Concentrating on the man's leg. Kicking, stomping, falling body smashes. Working on the leg. Another reprimand from the referee for using the elbow.
What's that, dog? He don't give. No, he don't give. Y'all better hurry up. They televised it. They only got about 2 minutes.
Ricky Fields, Loxley, Alabama, young grappler, Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago. And rolling over. Ricky manages to get his shoulders up into the ropes. Ricky has a reverse leg scissors on the man. And the ring official calls for the break. Lord Raven holds on to the leg and gets an elbow smash in. Ricky Fields charges the man.
Get him, Ricky! Oh, boy, you chicken. Just one time. You chicken that like the rest.
Here's Ricky Fields with a leg scissor on the man. He comes up with the man's leg now. Ricky is going to give him some of his own medicine. Here's the falling body drop on the leg of Lord Raven. And Ricky does it again with a knee to the back of the knee of Lord Raven's. Tremendous pressure exerted on that joint, and Ricky continues to work on the man's leg. Ricky Fields working on the leg now of Lord Raven. He's applying the pressure on the man's leg now. Ricky Fields getting some sweet revenge on the man. Pressure on the man's leg now by Ricky Fields. There's Lord Raven coming out of it. He comes up with the same hold now on Ricky Fields. And he's again working on the knee and thigh area of Ricky Fields with his fist and elbow. Ricky rolls over and trips the man up, but he falls into the ropes. Into the ropes. Ricky Fields and Lord Raven. 2 out of 3 fall match. This is the second fall. Lord Raven winning the first fall. Side headlock by Ricky Fields. By the hair, Lord Raven pulls him off. And he draws a reprimand from the third man in the ring.
Don't you stand the bell, Claire? You don't know how to obey by the rules.
Side headlock by Ricky Fields. Into the ropes. Here's a whip on Ricky Fields into the ropes and a collision in the middle of the ring. Fields is down. Lord Ravens picks him up again, whips him into the ropes. And Ricky holds onto the ropes and gives the man a kick in the chest. He's down. Ricky Fields on top of him. He's got him by the arm. He whips him into the ropes. He's waiting for him, picks him up, and gives him a drop. He's over the ropes. Over the ropes. Right here atop us. Right here on top of us. Ricky pulls him back inside of the ring. Hooks him again, rolls him over. 2, 3, there's the count. Ricky Fields takes the second fall over Lord Ravens. It's 1 fall each, 1 fall for 1 fall, 15-minute time limit. 1 fall, 15-minute time limit. At 230 pounds from Orange Park, Florida, Eric Spearman. Spearman. From Bonifay, Florida, at 222 pounds, Greg Peterson. This is a 1 fall, 15-minute time limit match.
Well, scared the face up with that. Right the rules. Pull him out.
Third man in the ring,
I wouldn't shake it.
going through the rules. Two Florida boys in the ring now from Orange Park, Florida. Eric Spearman, the blonde-headed gentleman. And an arm drag takes him down. He comes right back and puts an arm drag on Greg Peterson.
You ain't done a thing.
Okay, says Greg from the expression on his face.
Greg let you know.
Here's Greg with an arm drag on Eric Spearman.
Don't get
And the referee reprimands Spearman for balling up his fist. It's a wrestling match. Around behind, over the shoulder of Greg Peterson. Eric Spearman is applying a hammerlock. Peterson working on the leg, trying to figure a hold to get out of this, a counter hold. Still applying the pressure is Eric Spearman.
Greg don't give. No.
Peterson now with a long arm bar, so to speak, behind the knee of Spearman, forces his leg down, but Spearman continues to apply the pressure on the arm of Peterson, and Peterson comes around with a stand-up wrist lock on the man, and he's applying the pressure now to the left arm of Eric Spearman. Eric Spearman with the blonde hair and in the white boots, Greg Peterson. Leg behind, Tripp takes the man down. Peterson back up again as Spearman continues to apply the pressure to the hammerlock on the left leg. Into the ropes the men go, calling for the break. Is third man in the ring, Jimmy McGuire. A clean break by Eric Spearman and Greg Peterson. Right back to the hold goes Spearman, applying the pressure to the left arm of Greg Peterson.
Down on the hole, you know. I was in the wrestling business. That's all I know.
Here is Greg again trying to go to the leg of Spearman. Greg gets his head in under the arms of Spearman. He's trying to come up with the counter pressure here. Putting a leg behind him, he trips him and takes the man down and breaks the hold. Greg Peterson, Bonifay, Florida farmer. And Eric Spearman from Orange Park, Florida. He charges in there, and Greg sidestepped him, falling down on the man. Into the ropes they go. Into the ropes. Although Spearman's shoulders are pinned, he is in the ropes. And Greg Peterson breaks the hold.
Greg, the referee forgot to count.
Referee comes between the men. Back to the center of the ring. Here now is Greg Peterson taking hammerlock on the left arm of Eric Spearman, taking him down and got that arm stretched out with his arm entwined around it, applying the pressure on it. This puts tremendous pressure on the upper arm, the elbow, and the shoulder of Spearman. Ooh, a knee into the armpit of Spearman. Tremendous pressure in the shoulder area. Tremendous pressure. And he pulls him back into a hammerlock again. Spearman standing up. Greg Peterson hooks him and takes him down. Here's the count. Spearman kicks out of it, and he comes up with his fist cocked. But Greg Peterson doesn't back up from him. He is right there with him. Eric Spearman. Here is a kick to the upper leg of Greg Peterson by Eric Spearman.
All right, you done dirty.
And he does it again. Working on the leg of Peterson. This is the night for working on legs as Eric Spearman works on the leg of Greg Peterson. Still working on the leg of Peterson is Eric Spearman. Pulling him back, here's a falling body drop on the man. A falling body drop on the man now as Peterson applies the pressure to, Spearman applies the pressure to the left leg of Greg Peterson. Peterson pulls him off. Here's a whip into the ropes. A stand-up back body drop, and Spearman hits the mat. Peterson hooks him and falls on him in a modified version of a suplex, and there's a count of three. Greg Peterson winning his fall over Eric Spearman. Greg Peterson time limit. One fall, 15-minute time limit. In the mask at 280 pounds from parts unknown, the Super Assassin. In his corner with him, Sweet Daddy Banks. From Jackson, Mississippi, at 270 pounds, will you welcome Gene Lewis. Lewis, 1 fall, 15-minute time limit. Here is the bell. The referee has called for the bell, and Sweet Daddy Banks is still in the ring. And here is Gene Lewis and the Super Assassin. 2 big elbow smashes, a knee lift, and the Super Assassin is down. And Gene Lewis again directs his attention to Sweet Daddy Banks standing outside the ring. Back in on the Super Assassin goes Gene Lewis. He has the front headlock on him. Picks the man up. Here is a suplex, and the big man hits the mat. 280 pounds of Super Assassin. Sweet Daddy Banks is in the ring, and Gene Lewis goes after him, and Daddy vacates the immediate premises. And the match goes to Gene Lewis with a suplex on the huge Super Assassin. Gene Lewis with a suplex on the Super Assassin, 280 pounds, and Gene picked him up like a baby. And now Gene is extending an invitation with some very strong wording to Sweet Daddy Banks to come into the ring. Sweet Daddy standing outside is having a few things to say too, but he won't get into the ring. The Assassin is out of the ring now. Sweet Daddy Banks assisted him out of the ring, and Sweet Daddy going through some strong gyrations outside the ring, and he gets an invitation from Gene Lewis to come on in. And Sweet Daddy doing a lot of preaching on the side, but he won't come inside of that rope. He'll stand outside. He's taking his glasses off now. He's taken off one of his gloves. He has taken off his other glove. And he is a little bit irate with Gene Lewis. He has pulled his cape off, and Gene Lewis is pacing him like a tiger in that ring. Sweet Daddy, quite a bit of comment from outside of the ring, bringing his paraphernalia to our desk. And Sweet Daddy going through the motions of getting ready to come in the ring. But at this point, he hasn't made the big move. 1 foot on the apron of the ring, telling the man to get back, shaking his fist at him. The third man in the ring, Jimmy McGuire, says, if you're coming in, come in. Sweet Daddy again, and he sidesteps Gene Lewis. Gene Lewis is trying to get him. Sweet Daddy running up and down the apron of the ring. He's back up there again. Into the ring goes Sweet Daddy Banks, and Gene Lewis is waiting for the man. Sweet Daddy wants to box. Gene Lewis is ready to accommodate him. Sweet Daddy again leaves the ring. Sweet Daddy Banks, who came in with the Super Assassin, and Gene Lewis disposed of the Super Assassin in record time. And now Sweet Daddy Banks, irate at what happened to his friend and partner and compadre, is now up here attempting to do whatever he's attempting to do. And Gene Lewis patiently waiting for the man inside the ring. The crowd goes now, cheering for Sweet Daddy to come on in the ring. And this is exactly what Gene Lewis wants. Come on in the ring. Sweet Daddy is standing outside the ring now, pacing up and down the apron. The third man in the ring, Jimmy McGuire. Gene Lewis has already won the match. There's a 1 fall, 45-minute time limit. 1 fall, 45-minute time limit. Our official for this match, Speedy Hatfield. Hatfield. From Hazard, Kentucky at 285 pounds, Big Bad Luke Brown. Luke Brown, Hazard, Kentucky. 280 pounds from White River, Arizona, Danny Little Bear. Little Bear, and correction on his weight, 250 pounds. Danny's weight, 250 pounds. 1 fall, 45-minute time limit. You know, Tom, when you're standing in that ring with your back turned to these people, you can get a little confused at times. This is a 1 fall, 45-minute house match. We will have the time remaining on the air for this match. We regret that we're unable each and every week to bring you all of the matches here on Gulf Coast Wrestling on television, but our time frame does not permit it. We have just 1 hour, and we do not have the opportunity to present all of the matches. This is Danny Little Bear, an Apache Indian from White River, Arizona, 250 pounds. Danny, at the present, is standing on your right. The man with the full black tights is Luke Brown. 1 fall, TV time remaining.
Go, Dirty, go! Go, Dirty, go! Go, Dirty, go! Watch your mouth off, boy!
Through the ropes comes Luke Brown, telling the fans behind us to shut your mouth, boy. And he claims to the referee to watch his fist. And Speedy Hatfield says, well, wrestle. Luke Brown in the black tights and Danny Little Bear. And as Luke Brown goes to take a kick at Danny Little Bear grabs his foot and lets him have a boot to the thigh.
No fist! No fist!
Speedy Hatfield telling him no fist. And as the referee holds, Danny Little Bear comes up with a wrist lock on Luke Brown. Into the ropes. Calling for the break. Calling for the break. And an elbow to the side of the head of Danny Little Bear. Another reprimand from Speedy Hatfield. Center of the ring, side headlock by Danny Little Bear and a fist to the face. Danny Little Bear says he hit him with the open palm. Luke says he used a fist. And the fans say that he did not use the fist. And again, Luke walks over to have a few words with one of his supporters at ringside. Center of the ring, referee's hold. Here's a headlock. Danny Little Bear comes up with a wrist lock on the man, and he goes to the ropes with a foot through the ropes, calling for the break. Speedy Hatfield inquiring of the man if he pulled Little Bear's hair. Of course not. Luke Brown lights the fist again. He takes a kick at Bear. Bear grabs him by the leg. He manages to hold on the ropes and pull his leg back in time. And Luke takes a kick at the turnbuckle, and it hurt. Referee's hold again, into the corner. Here's a big fist by Luke Brown. Danny Little Bear retaliates with a fist. And Speedy Hatfield again reprimands the man, telling him to break off of those ropes when he calls for a break off of the ropes. Back to the center of the ring, referee's hold. Here is a takedown by Luke Brown and a rollover. Bear still has the hold on Brown, but he has his legs around the rope, calling for the clean break. Here's a knee drop to the head and neck. And Little Bear draws a reprimand from Speedy Hatfield, telling him to break clean on the ropes.
When you stand the rope, he'll do something wrong.
Danny Little Bear, Luke Brown. Here's Luke Brown with an elbow smash to Danny Little Bear, top of his head. Another one, Little Bear off the ropes with a forearm smash. And Little Bear is charging him around the ring now and seeking higher ground. As he goes to the ropes and gets out of the ring is big bad Luke Brown getting away from Danny Little Bear. Danny Little Bear doing his dance around the ring and Luke Brown vacating the immediate premises. Dan is in the corner. Brown will not come back in with Dan charging him that way. Danny steps back to the center of the ring. Luke Brown back in the ring.
Cut it right out like a jackrabbit.
Referees hold into the corner. Moving around over the ropes. Speedy Hatfield calling for the break. Here's a knee to the midsection and an elbow, forearm smash. Another forearm smash. Another forearm smash by Luke Brown on Danny Littlebear. And Luke Brown tells Speedy Hatfield that Littlebear was holding on. A foot to the midsection and a fist to the face. Another foot to the midsection and a fist to the side of the head. An elbow to the top of the head of Danny Littlebear as Luke Brown charges in and continues to work on the man with that elbow smash to the top of the head. Littlebear is down. The ring official comes in and breaks it up. Holding the man back. Danny's down on one knee. Here is a knee to the side of the head. A foot to the head. Another foot to the head of Danny Littlebear by Big Bad Luke Brown. Luke Brown is working on Danny Littlebear. Another foot to the head. Picking the man up by the hair. Another foot to the head. Another foot to the head. Another one. Another one by Luke Brown, and he draws another severe reprimand from the ring official, Speedy Hatfield. Danny Littlebear picked up by the hair of the head by Luke Brown, and a big fist by Luke to the face of Danny Littlebear. Here's another one, and Danny Littlebear is down. Picking the man up. He whips him into the ropes, and Danny Littlebear is bleeding profusely from all the kicks and stomps to the head by Luke Brown. Danny in a bear hug. He's got Danny Littlebear in a bear hug. Really applying the pressure now is Big Bad Luke Brown. He has got a bear hug on Danny Littlebear, and the official Speedy Hatfield is right there to see if Littlebear submits to the pressure being applied to him now by Big Bad Luke Brown. Luke Brown putting the pressure on him. Danny Littlebear bleeding profusely from his forehead and head, where he has been stomped and beaten unmercifully by Luke Brown. Luke Brown now putting the pressure on the man with this bear hug. Littlebear will not give up. Littlebear will not submit. Littlebear will not submit. He continues to put the pressure on the man. He continues to apply the pressure to the man. He continues to apply the pressure to the man, and Danny Littlebear will not submit. Littlebear will not submit to this tremendous pressure, and Luke Brown goes to work on him again. Speedy Hatfield right there asking the man if he submits to the pressure being applied in this bear hug by Luke Brown. Danny Littlebear trying to come out of it, and he lets Luke Brown have one. But he has taken tremendous punishment. He's in a very weakened condition, having the circulation cut off. Bleeding profusely from the forehead now, and Luke Brown goes to work on the man again with a kick to the midsection, a stomp to the head of Danny Littlebear. Luke Brown with another foot to the face of Danny Littlebear. Another foot to the head. Luke Brown working on Danny Littlebear. Picking the man up. He whips him into the ropes, and Danny Littlebear comes off the ropes with a big leg lift. He hits the man in the face and in the chest, and Luke Brown is down. Here is another one by Danny Littlebear on Luke Brown. Rolling the man over. Danny Littlebear continues to work on him. Luke Brown and Danny Littlebear. Danny Littlebear. And I can't tell if Luke Brown is bleeding or if that's Danny Littlebear's blood on him. He pushes Speedy Hatfield out of the way. And he goes to work on Luke Brown, picking the man up by the hair. Another big fist. This is Luke Brown, also bleeding. Luke Brown also bleeding as Danny Littlebear has serviced him. Here's another fist to the forehead of Luke Brown, and Danny Littlebear shakes his fist. A blow to the midsection. Both men are bleeding profusely in the ring now. And here is a big war whoop from Luke Brown, and he and Danny Littlebear are standing there having a slugfest. Luke Brown starts in on the man again. Danny Littlebear lets him have it. Speedy Hatfield gets pushed out of the way by Luke Brown, and he calls for the bell. He calls for the bell. He has stopped the match. He has stopped the match between Danny Littlebear and Luke Brown, and they are still going at it. Both men bleeding profusely. Luke Brown leaves the ring. Luke Brown leaves the ring. Danny Littlebear still in the ring, calling for the man to come in. Luke Brown trying to bring a chair into the ring. He draws a reprimand from Speedy Hatfield. Danny invites him to come on in. Chair and all. Luke Brown and Danny Littlebear. What a tremendous battle this has been. Luke Brown starts back into the ring again, and Speedy Hatfield says no. No, get back out. He pushes Littlebear back. Luke is still wanting to come into the ring. Luke walking around outside of the ring. He's back up on the apron. He's back up on the apron. Speedy Hatfield is telling him that the match is over, to go to the dressing room. The match is over, go to the dressing room.
Chicken!
And he also reprimands Danny Littlebear. What a battle this has been. And we'll have more of the same in a moment. Okay, this is our main event of the evening. Main event, one fall, 60-minute time limit. This is a Gulf Coast Championship title match. From St. Paul, Minnesota, at 236 pounds, the challenger, Sweet Daddy Banks. Banks. Ladies and gentlemen, the current Gulf Coast champion from Phoenix, Arizona, Super Sully Eddie Sullivan. One fall, 60-minute time limit. Championship match. The champion, Super Sully Eddie Sullivan, the challenger, Sweet Daddy Banks. And we're elated that we have a little time left over where we may bring you part of this championship match. Normally we don't get into the main event, but right now we are getting into it, and we have just a little bit of time.
We're going to take the 2 falls. We're going to eliminate one of the falls we've already taken.
This is Super Sully getting his instructions from Speedy Hatfield, and listening very attentively is the challenger, Sweet Daddy Banks. All right. Here's Sweet Daddy throwing us his paraphernalia. This is 2 sets of gloves, 2 sets of glasses, and 2 robes now from the challenger, Sweet Daddy Banks.
Hey, look at that elbow! Look at that elbow!
Eddie Sullivan is ready for the Gulf Coast Championship match. Checking the elbow pad, Speedy Hatfield. See if there's any ether or anything of that nature in the pad. Calling for the bell, and here we go. I think I introduced this as a 1 fall 60-minute time limit. I stand corrected on that. It is a 2 out of 3 fall 60-minute time limit. 2 out of 3 fall 60-minute time limit. I don't have access to a microphone at the present time to correct that to the audience here in the arena. I announced also from the ring that it was a 1 fall 60-minute time limit, but it is a 2 out of 3 fall 60-minute time limit for the Gulf Coast Championship. And we will bring you just as much of this match as we possibly can. Super Sully with a side headlock on Sweet Daddy Banks and applying the pressure to the neck and head area of the man. Huge barrel chest Eddie Sullivan can really put the pressure on the man. Here is a stand-up wrist lock by Sweet Daddy Banks now on Super Sully. Sweet Daddy pulls the man down. Drawing a reprimand from the referee. Applying the pressure to the left arm of Super Sully now is Sweet Daddy Banks. Speedy Hatfield, the third man in the ring, right on top of all the action. Sweet Daddy continues to hold a long arm bar. Here's a long arm bar twist on the left arm of Eddie Sullivan. Head to head, pushing the man into the ropes. Third man in the ring, Speedy Hatfield calls for a break by the hair. Sweet Daddy pulls him around. An elbow to the throat of Eddie Sullivan. Back to the long arm bar twist. And Sweet Daddy Banks is putting the pressure on the arm of Eddie Sullivan. Eddie Sullivan with the pressure on the arm and shoulder of Sweet Daddy Banks. Man goes down, continuing to apply the pressure. Sweet Daddy saying that he did not pull the man by the hair.
This is a 2 out of 3 fall, 60-minute time limit match. 2 out of 3 falls instead of the 1 fall, 60-minute match as I announced there. 2 out of 3 falls.
Corrected the error that I made over the public address system to the fans. As Sweet Daddy Banks continues to work on the man, he's throwing him around the ring now. Sweet Daddy Banks up with the balled up fist. Eddie Sullivan getting away from him. Sweet Daddy Banks, he's a tough competitor. And the fists are flying tonight. Sweet Daddy let Eddie Sullivan have one. Eddie Sullivan let Sweet Daddy have one. And Eddie Sullivan and the third man in the ring, Speedy Hatfield, are having words. Another fist by Super Sully and another reprimand. Here is a wrist lock and pulling the hair of Eddie Sullivan. Sully goes down. Sweet Daddy denies that he has done anything wrong. Here he is calling for the break. Speedy Hatfield. Here's a stomp to the upper arm and shoulder of Eddie Sullivan, and Sullivan closes in on the man. Eddie Sullivan, Sweet Daddy Banks. Speedy Hatfield again cautioning Sweet Daddy Banks about his activities in the ring with a wrist lock on Sweet Daddy Banks. By Sweet Daddy Banks, Eddie Sullivan lets him have a big fist. Referee's hold. Here is a stand-up wrist lock by Sweet Daddy Banks and a fist by Eddie Sullivan.
Right there!
And Sully again has words with the third man.
No!
Sweet Daddy wants his hand held up.
No!
Sweet Daddy wants his hand held up. Here is a long arm bar, a fist to the midsection, a fist to the side of the face of Eddie Sullivan, an elbow smash by Sweet Daddy Banks. Sully into the corner. Here is Sweet Daddy with a whip into the turnbuckles on Eddie Sullivan. He runs in and Sully jumps out of the way. Sweet Daddy Banks head first into the turnbuckle. And here's a big elbow smash by Sully. Here's the foot to the head of Sweet Daddy Banks. And Sully puts him in. He's trying to get him over into the crab, and he goes for the ropes. Sweet Daddy Banks goes to the ropes as Super Sully tries to get him in a crab. We'll be back with more action here in a moment. Been away for a moment as we continue in the first fall of this 2 out of 3 fall Gulf Coast Championship match between the champion Super Sully, Eddie Sullivan, and the challenger Sweet Daddy Banks. Still in the first fall. As Super Sully now applies the pressure to the neck and head area of Sweet Daddy Banks. Speedy Hatfield right on top of it, calling for a break. Count of 3, Sully turns loose. And Sweet Daddy Banks appears to be fairly well bushed at this point. Super Sully back with a headlock and a fist.
30 minutes is the end of the program. Yes, at the end of the program is 30 minutes.
Super Sully continuing to work on Sweet Daddy Banks. Here is a whip into the turnbuckle of Sweet Daddy by Super Sully. Super Sully with a big foot to the midsection of Sweet Daddy Banks. A big fist by Super Sully draws him a reprimand, and Sweet Daddy feels his eye. Sully again with a big foot to the midsection. Super Sully's got the man over the ropes. Third man in there, Speedy Hatfield calling for the break. Super Sully with a side headlock again, placing the man over the top rope, putting the pressure on the man, using the rope to choke him. The referee calling for the break on Super Sully. He turns loose, and Sweet Daddy Banks is in a pretty poor state at this moment. Sweet Daddy Banks from St. Paul, Minnesota. Super Sully from Phoenix, Arizona whips the man in, and with an elbow smash to the throat and chest area, Sweet Daddy Banks goes down. Here is Super Sully now trying to put the man in a Boston Crab, and Sweet Daddy crawls to the ropes. Sweet Daddy crawls to the ropes, the ring official calling for the break. Calling for the break. Super Sully turns the man loose.
We can make this thing go.
Again, Super Sully with a big elbow smash to the back of the head and neck of Sweet Daddy Banks. Again over the ropes. Super Sully got the man's throat on the ropes, and he's putting the pressure on him. The third man in the ring, Speedy Hatfield, calling for the break. And Super Sully turns him loose. Here's a big knee in the back of Eddie Sullivan. A big foot to the chest, another knee to the chest, a big fist by Eddie Sullivan as Eddie Sullivan goes to work on the man. Look at the clock. That's it. That's all the time we have for Gulf Coast Wrestling this evening. Thank you so much for being with us, and join us again next week immediately following The Late Show.
In the ring now.
Hey, here is the man kicking at him through the ropes as Sully walks around the ring. Hatfield starts the count over again because of the interference of Banks. The count is 5, 6. Here's a foot through the ropes to the midsection of Sweet Daddy Banks, and from outside the ropes, Sully lets him have another one. An elbow by Sully, another elbow by Sully, a fist to the side of the face of Banks. Here's another big fist by Sully. Another one. Another one. Here's a big foot to the chest, and Sweet Daddy Banks is down. A fist to the midsection of Sully, an uppercut. Calling for the break. Here's a fist to the throat. An elbow, rather, to the throat. Another one by Sweet Daddy Banks, and the ring official, Speedy Hatfield, pushes him back. Another elbow. Another elbow. Here he is, setting him up for the suplex. A suplex on Eddie Sullivan by Sweet Daddy Banks. 2. And Sully kicks out. Sully kicked out of the suplex. Sweet Daddy Banks is looking at him in disbelief. He's picking Sully up again. Sweet Daddy Banks is picking the man up. Here's a fist to the side of the face, a side headlock. Banks is thrown into Speedy Hatfield, and Hatfield is down. Super Sully threw Banks into the ring official, Speedy Hatfield. Hatfield is down. Here is another attempt at a suplex. 1, 2, Sweet Daddy Banks kicked out of it. As Sweet Daddy looked like he was attempting to suplex Eddie Sullivan, tripped over Speedy Hatfield into the ropes. A collision. A collision between Sweet Daddy Banks and Eddie Sullivan. Both men are down. Hatfield is counting. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Neither man can get up. 9, 10. Calling for the bell. Calling for the bell. After the collision, neither man could get up after the collision. Speedy Hatfield motioning for the timekeeper to give him the belt. Speedy Hatfield has the belt. What is he going to do with it? Speedy Hatfield has the belt. Both men are down. Sweet Daddy did get to his feet momentarily. He is laying on the apron of the ring. And Eddie Sullivan is trying to get up also. Sully coming to one knee momentarily. It was a tremendous collision, quite an impact. Sweet Daddy is almost falling off the apron of the ring. He is holding on with one hand. Speedy Hatfield is standing in the ring with the belt. Let's see. Sweet Daddy into a sitting position. To his knees comes Eddie Sullivan. At a sitting position is Sweet Daddy Banks.
Get up, Eddie's gonna get the belt, man. Get up, Eddie.
Sweet Daddy at a sitting position. Eddie to a sitting position. Eddie to his feet. Eddie Sullivan to his feet. He is reaching for the belt. Speedy Hatfield is holding on to the belt. He did not give it to Sullivan. He is telling him that he counted to 10. He did. He counted to 10 over both men.
Take it, Eddie.
Just a moment.
Both men was down for a 10 count, and I'm holding this belt now. There's no decision on it. It was both men.
All right, you heard it from the man himself. Both men were down for a 10 count, and Speedy Hatfield is holding up the belt. Both men were down for a 10 count, and Speedy Hatfield, who is the official for this match, is holding up the belt. Sweet Daddy is now to his feet. Eddie Sullivan is arguing with Speedy Hatfield, and he is telling them that they were both counted out. Sweet Daddy Banks is reaching for the belt. Both men know that when they are counted out, and Speedy is telling that he counted to 10 over both of them, and he is holding up the belt. And Sully is starting to stalk Sweet Daddy Banks. Hatfield is back in the ring, cautioning him, telling him that the match is over, telling him again that he counted to 10 over them. While these men were stunned and laying in the ring, they had no idea of the time lapse. They had no idea of the time lapse. The man counted both of them out. Both of them were counted out. The count of 10. It was a slow, concise count.
So they'll be in action against Sweet Daddy Banks and also Gene Lewis. It'll be Ricky and Bobby Fields meeting Lord Ravens and the Great Bolo. Don Carson and the Avenger will tangle, and Danny Little Bear and Ray French. So, Eddie, we want to ask you about this challenge now. You and Rip issued this to...
that's right.
Banks.
Let me tell you something. You know, they've got around this part of the country what is known as a booking office for the wrestling matches. They've got a wrestling promoter. Now, if somebody wants to wrestle Rip and Eddie, why don't they go to the promoter's office and say, look, man, I'd like to challenge these two dudes, and I'd like to wrestle them. Why do they always have to be running in the ring, sticking their nose where it doesn't belong? Now you got this dummy, this Gene Lewis. He's a big dude. He's a big guy. Fine, who cares? We're big, too, you know. When you're talking about 250, 260 pounds, you're not talking about a paper bag, man. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Lewis, we're going to do you just exactly the way that we done Dick the Bruiser. You know, he says he got suspended. They say he got suspended, he's gone, that he left. I don't believe that.
That's true.
The man got whooped so bad while he was here, he's ashamed to come back. And you know what? If I got beat up like he did, I'd be ashamed to come back, too. I would never come back in this part of the country. Lewis, we're going to humiliate you. We're going to put you down, man. I'm not through talking, Jack.
Well, we've got to go, Eddie.
Well, go on.
We'll
Ain't
look
nobody
for you
stopping
Sunday.
you. I'll
Sunday
take care of
night.
this.